Welcome back to Green Living Innovations YouTube channel in Data Analysis Practical. Great. In the previous video, I was talking about how you can run F-test, and I gave you in the scenarios where you can run F-test. And we know that F-test is great tool to use when you want to analyze data with two data sets. And we discussed that when you used the example of our very own students at Green Living Innovations who claim that if they study for more than 6 hours, they can do better than those who don't study for more than 6 hours a day. So apart from that, there is another set of tests that we can do right now. So welcome to this test, and I'm calling it t-test. How can we run t-test in this case? So you can move to this data here now. Let's see how we can run t-test. Let me try to zoom my screen enough so that you can be able to see what I'm doing here. There we have two data sets. Here we have this for male and this for female. So this example that I'm going to use in t-test, it teaches you how to perform a t-test in Microsoft Excel. The t-test is used to test the null hypothesis that the means of two populations are equal. So below you can find the study hours of 6 male and 5 female students here. So this is the same that we are having here. Now what are we trying to calculate in this case? We are trying to calculate the mean of these two populations when they are equal. Great. So we all know the formula for that, for the null hypothesis and alike. So to perform a test, we need to execute the following steps. But firstly, it is encouraged that we perform F-test to determine if the variances of the two populations are equal. But in this case, according to the numbers, and since we've done it F-test, we did it before. So today, we can do something different in t-test. So it's the same. I showed you how to install the data analysis button. So click on the data button here, then you're going to have data analysis at the far right end here. So double click on it. This time around in this box which just popped up, go and find t-test. Now we are having about 3 types of t-tests here, but we're just going to do one where we are having an equal variance. An equal variance, we are going to assume that we don't know anything about this data. We don't have the variance. Yeah, but we can do t-test to sample assuming equivariance if first we run f-test to this data. But due to time, we are just going to do an equivariance so that it can tell us the variance as well as the mean. Great. So double click on it, t-test to sample assuming an equivariance. This is the one that we are dealing with. Then the variable range one is the same. We're going to enter for male from 26 up to 52 there. Then in this range, we are going to have that. Then the labels, you can leave it. But there is a change here. There's something that we can do to the hypothesized mean difference because we haven't calculated anything. So we're going to assume that we don't know anything. Let Microsoft Excel data calculate for us. So we're going to put a 0 there. Then same the alpha, leave it. Then in the output, I'm going to display it here. I want it to be shown there. So I'll click OK. Then that is the information that I'm having after running a test. I'm having t-test to sample assuming unequal variances. Great. So I've run this test. Now what's the interpretation of this? Great. As you can see, I'm having the mean there for variable 1. So let me try to digest this. My boss doesn't know very well what this really means, so I'm going to put male for variable 1 there, and for variable 2 I'm going to put female so that my boss can also understand what I calculated there. Great. So this is what I'm having right now. So what's the conclusion? How can I interpret this now? You know, this course that we are doing is data analysis and interpretation. Since I've analyzed, I need to give an interpretation to my boss. So it can be good if even I adjust this size cell here so that my boss can read everything Yeah, because he's not familiar with data analysis, and you and I, we are experts, so we can even use the shortcuts. But for my boss, he really needs to read everything now. So what's my conclusion? How can I interpret it to my boss? I can say, in this case, if we do a two-tailed test, which is of inequality, because as you can see here, the observation is 6 this side and this is 5. So we are doing the one which is of inequality. Good. So if T, this T start here, let me try to highlight so that you can see clearly what I'm doing. So if this T start here is less than T critical two-tail here, which is the number here, this one. Let me try the last one. Let me try also to change the color for that so that you can see. So if T stat is less than T critical two-tail in this case, or if our T stat, the first one, it was greater than T critical two-tail, we reject the null hypothesis. So what do I mean here? What I'm saying is this: if T stat is less than T critical two-tail, then we are going to reject the null hypothesis that we formulated. So what's important is to see these two factors here. These are the important ones in our case. So in my case here, I'm having 1.4 in T stat, and in T critical two-tail it is 2.36, which means that T critical two-tail is greater than 1.4 here, which is the T stat. So whatever hypothesis I had, I'm going to reject it. But if, imagine that this 2 was on top and this 1.4 was down, then I'm going to fail to reject the null hypothesis, which simply means that I'm going to accept the hypothesis, the null hypothesis that I developed at first. So this is how we run it. So this is not the case, as we can see here. Yeah, so therefore, we do not reject the null hypothesis because this is smaller than this. So the observed difference between the sample mean, which is 33, and this is the sample mean, 33, and 24.8 here, is not quite convincing enough to say that the average number of study hours between female and male students differ significantly, because there is no margin lines here. It's not, the margin is very small, it's not big. So we can simply say that the average number of study hours between female and male students differ significantly. Great. So this is how we run t-test in Microsoft Excel. So I'm dealing with my boss, who is the head teacher. You know, yeah, he's the old man and he's not quite familiar with this. So he can't also understand this very well. But if I do to try to visualize something for him, he can understand very well. So I need to project this data so that on Monday I can present it very well. So I'm going to highlight that table, then I'll come on insert, then I'm going to pick any form here and chart that I want to show this data in. So I can use the 3D column. Then, you know, I'm an IT specialist, so I'm even going to decorate it like that so that it can look very well. Then here I'm going to say t-test start hours, t-test start hours. Great. So I can present now to my boss with the key here that in blue it states for male and orange is for female, so he can understand that the mean is this one and the variance is this one, as well as the variation. So like this, I have created a picture for him so he can easily understand how our boys are performing in the test that we were running, or the research that our school was participating in. So thank you very much for watching this video in t-test. So don't go, I have a good number of these videos for you. So since we are done with t-test, let's now go to the third one, which is z-test.